Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live with Lee. I'm your host, Lee Marvin. So, I'm an immigration attorney and I've been practicing for over a decade. And Mondays at this hour, this time, I do a Q&A for anything related to immigration. I bring updates and notices and all sorts of groovy things. More than anything, it's the comments and questions that you guys have, and that is why I'm here. I say every week, I know all this stuff, but you don't, which is why you're here and why you're asking me questions. So please do not hesitate to ask questions about things that relate to your life or just things that you're interested in knowing about immigration law. Okay. So usually every week I have a kind of topic that I want to talk about that may or may not relate to the questions. And the topic tonight is, Q&A, of course, but waiver and request for evidence is always something on the forefront of my mind and my clients because they're always rolling out from immigration. So all these requests for evidence for random things, for crazy things, and repetitive things. So I did a few videos about this just recently. In fact, today I did some videos about this and about how kooky and crazy it is with the requests for evidences that are coming and how they're very, very scary unless you know what to look for and you know what to do. So stand by for those videos that I haven't posted yet. I just recorded them today. But basically, the information is always timely and relevant. What I've been noticing is that a lot of the requests for evidence are absolutely random, and they make no sense. A lot of times they ask for the same things. Sometimes they ask for things that are not relevant to the particular filing that is being reviewed. You never know what you're going to get. But right now, I've got a question here. Question is simple. I am marrying my fiance from Costa Rica, beautiful place. What is the next step to bring her to the U.S.? Okay. Okay. So the big question is about fiance visas, spouse visas. It's a big topic we talk a lot about on this channel. Basically, what you need to do is decide if you're doing a fiance visa. Basically, you need to apply for the fiance visa because your fiance will need to get that approval, will need to get an interview in order to have permission to enter the United States. What's the purpose of entering the United States as a fiance? The purpose is to be able to legally enter, to get married, and then once you're married, to file for the green card in the United States with you. So the first step basically is figuring out the relationship and when you're thinking about getting married. And as soon as you have those basic ideas, then you're filing for the fiance visa. Fiance visa includes a lot of information, basically your relationship and your intentions, okay? So once that's reviewed and once immigration sets the interview, then they will approve it, and then your fiance will be able to enter the United States for the purpose of getting married. And that's going to have to happen within 90 days of entry to the United States, okay? So I'm glad you asked this question because it allows me to tell you about a webinar that I'm going to be doing. I believe it's the 21st. We've kind of tweaked the date a little bit. It was going to be on Valentine's Day for obvious reasons, but I think it's going to be the 21st. So I'm doing a webinar that talks about the difference between a fiance visa and a spouse visa, okay? Because there's very similar aspects to them, but they are very different. So you got to know whether you qualify and which one is better for you and your situation. So stand by for that announcement. We're going to put it all over social media, but tentatively mark your calendar for the 21st of February, and it's going to be during the daytime. So it's not like tonight where it's 8 o'clock. It's basically, I think, around 12:30 we're going to do it. Stand by for that. Again, it's a free webinar, so all you have to do is show interest, and we will make sure you get an invitation to that webinar, okay? So it's going to be very informative for people who don't know the difference between a spouse or a fiancé visa, okay? So yes, that's going to be on the 21st at 12:30. So let me look on Instagram, see what kind of questions I may have. How long does it take to get it approved after RFE is submitted? Man, that's an excellent question, because it depends on how far along in the process before immigration requests or submits the RFE to you, okay? Usually, and it also depends what they're asking for, because sometimes you can tell by what they're asking as to whether they're close to being done with their review. Usually when I get a request for evidence, it's within 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks before my client's process is approved. So if you've got one recently, again, it's all over the place, because if the filing was done right and they are just being petty and asking for something they've already asked for, it usually is pretty quick. If there's a significant part of the process that hasn't been done right, then it could be weeks before they approve it. So it is really hard to tell. So I would say it all depends on what they ask for in that request for evidence. And again, reach out to me if you have a question about that, about how to respond or what the question is, and I could give you a better idea of how much I think how long it would take. Okay. So my dad applied for his son back in 2018, and he is a U.S. citizen, and his sons are married. What is the exact time frame for this? So this category is U.S. citizen sponsoring adult children who are married. Generally speaking, it's several years. And again, I have YouTube videos about the processing times for a lot of these. So definitely check my channel, because I talk every month when the visa bulletin is released. I do a video and I tell people what the processing times are. But basically for that category, it probably is about, I don't know, 5 to 7 years for that parent child, adult child who's married. Okay. Let me go back over here. So it, like I said, it depends on the relationship. It depends on the person who's the sponsor and the person who's being sponsored. Okay, so adult child who's married. That's all posted. And again, check out my videos, because I definitely tell you that. For all you that are joining, there's a lot of people joining. Please submit your questions, because I'm here for you. So submit your questions, because I really would like to answer whatever questions you have. Okay. What's the purpose of a white password for green card holder? I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of a white password before. So I might need more information on that. Meaning, it might be something that somebody needs to tell me what they've received from the government. Why are they making it so hard for Russians to get their interviews for a fiancé visa? Only Poland now, and they won't give. Okay, yeah. So basically, it seems that way for a lot of different countries, that are like, oh my gosh, why are they picking on my country? Maybe they are picking on Russia because of the conflict that has been ongoing for a while. Very well could be. Immigration is usually very harsh on people, or on different countries that might have problems with the United States government. But I will say that most countries are having significant delays in different types of processes. I would suspect, I can't say with certainty whether that's true for Russia or not, but I suspect that the conflict has something to do with that. Again, embassies that are closed. I don't think that Russia has an embassy. U.S. doesn't have an embassy in Russia. So that also has a major factor. People do have to go to Poland. People have to go to other countries in order to have their interview. Okay. So that has a lot to do with it. Okay. Let's see. So yes, please submit your questions if you're just joining. Welcome. Again, this is Live with Lee. I'm Lee. I'm Lee Marvin, attorney, immigration attorney, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. So please don't forget to subscribe and to ask your questions here. When you get an RFE to provide divorce certificate, do you send the original or a photocopy? So 99.9% of the time, immigration is asking for a copy. They don't ask for a real original because they expect you to take that to your interview. So if they're asking for an RFE for a document, it is absolutely going to be a copy unless they state otherwise. So again, the interviews, the point of the interview, one of the main points of the interview is to inspect official documents like marriage certificates. So take it to your interview, otherwise send a copy to them. Okay, so now we have, in regards to a K-1 visa, what is the approximate time receiving a combo card and receiving a 2-year green card? What's the time frame in between? Thanks and appreciate it. My pleasure. So the combo card, again, I hate saying this, but I say it all the time. It really depends, because if they're going to process it, you're usually going to get it around the same time, which again, if you're doing things the right way and you're entering the right way and you're filing, either right before you enter or right when you enter, then usually it's only a few weeks. In my experience with my clients, it can be as quick as about 2 to 3 weeks before you get that. So it really depends, and when you're filing and where your fiance visa is coming through, because again, different countries, different embassies have different wait times, and it's just, there's no real rhyme or reason because everything is so dependent on the embassy. Okay, so again, please submit questions. And I want to tell you guys again, we're going to post this stuff all over social media. Fiance and spouse green card webinar that I'm going to be doing on the 21st of February at 12:30. So that's the noontime hour. I'm going to be doing a free webinar for people who have questions about the fiance visa versus the spouse visa. Which one is better? Which one's appropriate to you? And all questions in between. So don't forget to set your calendar for that and watch for releases on our social media for how you get invited to that and get a link to that webinar. Okay. So again, it's the 21st at 12:30. Okay. So again, questions, please submit your questions. And I have to constantly remind people because I don't want people to miss the opportunities, because usually people wait till the end when I hang up in about 15 minutes and they're like, oh man, I missed it. So ask your questions. Okay, so can you attend community colleges credit classes if you don't have a social security number? So that's a tough question because there's so many different aspects to that question. So Maya, it depends on what you're in the United States for, what your status is, because Social Security number isn't required for school, but legal status is tied to Social Security is what gets you student aid. But if you are in the United States and you're here on a tourist visa, you can't be joining college classes, whether it's community college or whatever it is. You don't have the legal right to go to school on a tourist visa. So if you're talking about a tourist visa, be really careful about that because you do not have the right to do that. You can change from a tourist to a student fairly easily. I've done it many, many times. So Social Security number isn't the key for this. It's your legal status in the United States, okay? If my dad was deported and they gave him 10 years and he came back with a CBP1 app and his 10 years weren't complete, he had 9 months left in his 10 years. Is it still running? Yes, because I think it was last year, I forget the dates, but last year a new policy was put in place where basically immigration would recognize the running of their 10-year bar, regardless of where you are on the planet. As long as you trigger that bar will continue to run. So if your dad was able to enter on the CBP1 app and he had 9 months left, chances are very, very good that he will continue to let the timer run for the next 9 months, and then he'll be in a very different status in order to move forward with his immigration. Um, is there an expiration date for filing a U visa when you're the victim of a crime? I've had that question a lot over the years. And the answer is a judgment call, usually from your attorney, because it depends what the crime was. It depends the jurisdiction. And it depends on your immigration history for a lot of the time. But basically, my general rule of thumb, well, again, it depends. It depends on what crime was, because a general rule of thumb, I don't often try for something that was 7 years or older. Sometimes it's 5 years or older. Okay, so it really depends. So yeah, Maya, el gusto es mío, my pleasure. No problem. So again, please submit your questions. Okay, let me check my other one. So yeah, the U visa, a lot of it depends on what happened to you. Okay, let's see. Send your questions. Hi, Gonzalez. Hi, how are you? So hopefully that answered the question about the U visa. How long after you receive the EAD, employment authorization document, can you expect to get a green card approval? I'm assuming with that question, you're talking about filing a green card request based on, I don't know, maybe a spouse sponsorship. It depends, okay? So if you have filed your work authorization request with your green card request and you have the legal right to do all that, it typically takes a couple months. It used to take only a couple months, and then it went to like 6 months, and then it was never, and then it was a couple months again. So I would say between 1 and 3 months is generally how it works. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. In that case, will I be able to sponsor him after he has had 3 to 4 entries because CBP1 gave him 2 years only? So again, this is a highly complicated question that relates to so many things that are not a part of our discussion right now. This is a consultation question because, again, there's a lot of different factors that come into play here. I can't answer the question because I give you an answer that's not accurate because it's not based on the full history, and then I'm a bad guy for that. So please reach out to me, schedule a consultation so I can give you a good answer to that question. Okay, my interview was 1 year ago, and I don't have any answer yet. Is it necessary to make joint taxes? What can I do to get the answer of the interview? Okay, multiple question. Lima BG15. Interview 1 year ago. I don't know where you are. If you're out of the country, it's very different than if you're in the country. I'm assuming it's a spouse sponsorship. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's family. Maybe it's brother and sister. You speak about joint taxes, so I'm assuming it is husband and wife. If you are married, always file jointly, okay? You may need to speak with a tax professional to see if you're able to do that. But from an immigration standpoint, you always file jointly if you have the legal right to do so, okay? Okay. When you get a green card for 2 years because you got married, is it easy to get the green card for 10 years? My point is if immigration will try to find something wrong or say no. So again, it's easy if you know what you're doing. It's easy if you do it right. They are often looking to trip you up. Yeah, absolutely, because that's immigration. So most of the time, I tell people it was something that's that serious, like getting a 10-year green card. Don't dabble in it by yourself because if there's something that comes up that you don't handle the right way, then you might never get the green card, the full 10 years. So I wouldn't mess with it. It's not worth it because if you can get a 10-year green card, it usually means within 3 years, 5 at the max, you're applying for citizenship. It's not worth messing around with. Set an appointment with me. I'd be happy to help you with that. I've never been denied for something like that. So, yes, it's easy for people that know what they're doing, but man, does immigration love to trip people up. Okay, so just be careful with that. Let me go over to the other screen here. Um, so let's see here. Okay, I did my marriage green card interview in Baltimore 12 days ago. Congratulations. And haven't heard from them. That's totally normal. Okay, Gonzalez. That is totally normal. 12 days ain't that long. I'll be honest with you. If it was a month and a half, I'd say you might need to reach out to immigration and ask them what's going on. 12 days isn't bad at all. So hang in there. Don't worry. Don't sweat it. And it'll come soon. I don't know Baltimore like I know like Detroit, for example. So hang in there. You can see the posting times. Again, look YouTube. I've done a lot of videos about this. I talk about how you can figure out answers to this question about processing times, about the different field offices. So check out my video, and then you can see what I say about that and how to find out the answer. Okay. Um, okay. Um, Other states, I'm kind of catching up behind here. When you okay, yeah. Okay. So, um, adjusting my status, and I had an RFE for proof that we share a marriage together. I didn't apply for a work permit, so I don't work. We have a bank account together. That's excellent. Can I use that proof? 100,000%. Anything that ties you guys together, especially financial, is absolutely what you want to use. If it's a Verizon account, if it's car insurance, if it's your Amazon account, whatever it is, you have an account together with your significant other. That is what you want to definitely include to show immigration that you guys are committed to each other, because the immigration doesn't like anything more than the fact that you both are going to go down together if something happens. So if that's financially, especially financially, that is the number one thing they look at. Okay, other things are is obviously kids and living situation, but definitely financial things like that is what you're going to want to have to show. Okay, um, I will say that with these requests for evidence, immigration is getting really wacky with this stuff. So they are absolutely asking me, of all people, asking me to prove that my clients have a relationship together. Seriously, because when I file these things, I don't screw around. I throw everything in there that absolutely unequivocally shows that they're together, and they still ask me to prove for my clients that they are legitimately together. So don't feel bad if they're asking you that. Definitely feel annoyed by it, but there's lots of things that you can still show that you're together. And it might be you submitting the same junk that you submitted in the first place. Okay. I've had to do that for clients. I'm like, seriously? I printed the same stuff and asked for maybe a few additional things, but I printed the same stuff. And guess what happens? It gets approved every time. So I think it's a new process that they're doing to trip people up. So if you get a request for evidence, don't freak out. And that's what I started to say at the beginning of this live session, is that don't freak out when this happens, because they absolutely want to spook people. Because guess what? If you bail, if you just don't follow through, they don't have to deny you. So they can make it really tough for you. And then if you quit, then they win. Okay. Um, Thank you. Hey, yes. Yep. No tobacco. Thank you so much. And it's good to see your name up here. And I'm so glad you guys are doing well. And that sweet little girl that you have, she is so darn adorable. And I think you may have had another one, but whatever. I don't want to talk about your business online. Um, so I appreciate it. Yes, I don't BS with people. Okay. If people don't want to hear what I have to say, I understand that. But I would rather give you bad news and have it be the truth than to lie to you. to misrepresent. So I give you false sense of hope and all that stuff. I don't play that game. So thank you for saying that. I definitely I like to be able to sleep at night and to meet my maker, know that I did right by all my clients. So thank you for that. Let's see. Uh, Work visa application. So work visas, it's complicated. That's a very, very loaded question because work visas depend entirely on your history, how you're in the United States, whether you are in the United States, and what sort of work visa you're applying for. Because if it's what do you call it? Like a professional, if you're somebody with a lot of experience, very specialized knowledge, that's a special type of work visa. Or it could be an agricultural visa. They're all work visas. So there's lots of different types of work visas. So everything depends on where you come from, what you're trying to accomplish, and what sort of employer we have. If you have specific questions, I have a phone number on the screen, 1-888-589-2228. Call that number. I also have links where it's somewhere in here, I forget where it is, but where you can click on the link and you can schedule an appointment with me to talk about these things, and I can help you figure out work visas, U visas, spouse visas, all that good stuff. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So let's see what else. I'm looking here. Okay. So yeah, so much of this, and again, I sound like a broken record, and I know that people hear attorneys say this stuff, and it depends. So much depends on so many different aspects of it. It's the practice of law is incredibly complicated, and facts are important. So when I answer questions, I'm not trying to blow people off. I'm trying to tell people that things are very complicated and you might need to reach out to me directly. So let's see here. What else we have? So what I'm saying is call the phone number there, set up an appointment with me so I can answer your questions more directly, more detailed. I mean, this is awesome for a lot of people to figure out what we call the left and right limits, what you can and can't do, but it's not going to answer all your questions. A one-on-one is really needed to do a good filing and to give you a good idea of what you're up against, your chances of success, all that sort of stuff. Okay. I have a I-512L approved recently, used 3 weeks ago. In the papers, it says valid for multiple applications. It means I can use the same parole for other travel. So again, it depends on what was asked for and what exactly it says in the approval, because a lot of times approvals can be used multiple times, but it depends on the exact language that the government put on there as to whether you're going to get away without having trouble. Okay. Because again, they love to deny people. They love to block people. But if it says multiple, then they really do mean that. But again, like I said, it depends on precisely what you ask for. Okay. So be careful with that. Definitely look before you leap with that. Okay. So if you're just joining, thank you. Welcome. Please submit your questions. There's a lot of people asking questions and posting your questions. Please post your questions, because there's a lot of great things that I can provide information to people, but not if you don't ask. So please ask your questions. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? So we are talking about, okay, so I say, please post your, if my husband doesn't have a social security number, is it okay to apply for a TIN number for filing? Okay, and they get married, filing jointly. So I will say this is my general answer when it comes to this question about social security numbers, ITIN numbers, and all that. Always file for taxes, okay? If you can qualify and obtain an ITIN number, absolutely do it. The government put an end to it a while back, or they made it really difficult for people to be able to get it. So try it, because you may be one of the people that get one of those, and absolutely use it. But you do have to pay taxes, okay? If you don't have the ability to get a Social Security number, if you can get the ITIN, definitely do that. Do you work for VAWA cases? Absolutely. You're in Pennsylvania. I work with people all the time in Pennsylvania, and definitely with VAWA as well. Reach out to me. Call the number on the screen, which is 1-888-589-2228, because that is a phenomenal program. VAWA is a phenomenal program. So let me know. Reach out to me. I see now that it is at the end of our session. They go so darn fast. I'm gonna probably look at adding another session during the week, probably during the daytime, and probably focusing a lot on Espanol for people that desire speaking more in Spanish. Puedo hablar en español también, pero inglés es mi primer idioma. Stand by for that. We're trying to get it set up, so stand by for that. I love doing these. Join next week, next Monday at 8:00 p.m. I'll be here like I always am, and you're all welcome to ask the questions, and we'll have a good time. Please don't forget to subscribe to my various social media so you get notified of all these awesome things that I do. And thank you for your time and for your questions. Have a wonderful night. And don't forget the webinar that we're going to have, free webinar, February 21st, 12:30 in the daytime, lunchtime. The 21st of February, it's a free webinar for people to discuss spouse visa versus the fiance visa, and all the questions about how it works, what's more appropriate for you. I'm going to be giving that free webinar to you. So stand by for that. Look for it, because it's invitation only. So you're going to have to reach out to us if that's something you're interested in doing. Again, have a wonderful night. Non tobacco. Thank you for your support, and looking forward to seeing you again one of these days. And everyone else, have a wonderful night too. Thank you. Again, Live with Lee.